The Reedy, Set, Grow podcast with Trish Reedy.
Welcome to Reedy, Set, Grow, the podcast that inspires you to grow into the person you are meant to be. I'm your host, Trish Reedy. I'm a local mortgage lender here in Kansas City, and I just love our community. I love the people here. So I'm excited to share with you another inspirational Kansas Citian, my friend, Stephanie Meyer.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Of course, I'm excited.
So Stephanie and I are not native Kansas Citians.
True.
We are definitely Kansas Citians now. We've been here long enough, but we both grew up in Wichita. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm so glad that we're here now.
Me too.
Yeah.
Though I still love Wichita.
Well,
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the story of how you saved someone's life.
Sure. Gosh, it sounds so big and mighty when you say it that way.
It is big and mighty. It is.
So I am a living kidney donor, and it kind of happened because of social media, really.
Social media can do good things.
I know. This is the one thing. Yeah. So it was. So I have a friend who was in Wichita who went to high school with me, and was a great friend at the time. We stayed Facebook friends, but that was kind of it. So I hadn't seen her a lot. Absolutely. High school has been longer than I care to admit.
Seems like yesterday, but...
Yeah, a few decades ago.
Yeah.
But stayed Facebook friends, and so of course followed each other's lives. And in March of 18, so a couple of years ago, I saw her put on Facebook that her husband, who I didn't know and had never met, was being added to the kidney transplant wait list. He has polycystic kidney disease. So he had it since he was 13, and he was, 36, I think, at the time. And so had struggled with it for a long time. And finally, his kidneys got to a place where it was time for him to get on the list. So that's about 20% function. So 10% is full-time dialysis. So they try to hit the sweet spot. So theoretically, you can find a kidney before you hit dialysis because the outcomes are not ideal at that point. So anyway, so he gets added to the list, and she does a Facebook post about it, and it just kind of, I don't know, it was sort of like a God moment. Like I saw it and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to be his match. So I just responded to the Facebook and said, I'll get tested. What is his blood type, right? So of course we were the same, A+, blood type. And I thought, well, I'm going to do it. And I kind of thought from the beginning, like, there's no way I'm not going to be a match. Like, that's because I'm that type A about everything. And I'm going to do it.
What's the likelihood of being a match?
So I think it's about 1 in 30,000, right? Right. So crazy. And the whole time I'm like, okay, well, I know that I'm definitely going to be a match. And my husband's like, there's no way that you're going to be a match. Everyone is like that. Right. Sounds good. All right. So we go through the whole process. It's a very, as you might imagine, lengthy process. So they do a phone interview and talk about your family history. Of course, they want to know your health history, how you're doing. The focus for, and I went through KU, so the focus for these folks is to make sure that on the donor side, you're in good enough health that when you lose a kidney, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So you go through all those tests. It ends with a very lengthy and elaborate full-day scan at KU. So they run every sort of test you can imagine.
Wow.
A lot
and
of mental health. And
you found out you were in great health.
Yeah. So that's also a bonus. Yeah. Yeah. So lots of health tests, lots of mental health tests.
Sure.
A lot of like, so you want to give your kidney to a complete stranger? Are you crazy? Kind of a conversations. So really interesting, and went through the whole process. And Dan and I were a match throughout. Dan and I finally met the day before I got final confirmation that we were a match and I was approved to give. So
like totally a stranger.
Yes.
Like he's somebody you had never actually met before.
Yes.
That's so wild.
It was crazy. And I'll tell you that lunch was crazy. It's like the most awkward first date of your life. Like you both know you're a kidney match for each other.
So you feel like saving my life tomorrow?
Right. He's such a sweet guy. I could just go on and on about Dan. But the thing about that lunch that I loved was all he knew about me is that I worked in politics. And so we get about halfway through lunch, and then of course I knew his wife. We get like halfway through lunch, and he says, Stephanie, I just have to tell you something. I wouldn't feel comfortable with you not knowing about this. Like, it's important, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, like, did you, like, kill someone? Like, what is this deep, dark secret? And he says, well, I didn't vote for Trump. Like, I don't care. Yeah, I have other feelings about that. But, yeah. So it was really cute that that's what he was worried about, and has just been a sweetheart throughout.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So the process to be approved was pretty rigorous.
Yes.
And you made it through and decided, I'm still going to do this. Was your husband on board?
At that point, Yes.
At that point, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he came into the final session at KU with a legal pad full of questions, lots of interesting ones, lots of ones that people often have. So what is it? What
Sure.
are the outcomes like if you donate a kidney? What does life look like for you? And just to let everybody know, and I think it's important, my life hasn't changed at all. I can't take NSAID pain relievers. That is quite literally the only difference. So the most popular question I get is, can you still drink alcohol? And I can say, absolutely yes. So that's important. But yeah, so
Wine can still go through the system.
it works very well. So yeah,
That's why we have a
absolutely.
liver and kidneys.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly
Yes.
right. Yeah.
So, okay, so you got Brian on board.
Yes.
You're approved. Then what happens?
So then we kind of waited. So Dan, it happened so quickly in the grand scheme. People are typically on the transplant list for a couple of years.
Wow.
So he started in March and we got approved at the beginning of June. So because we
That's
had a little
super
bit of
fast.
time,
Yeah.
so it all went very quickly. Because we had a little time, we decided to kind of wait until the end of the year. So Katie, his wife, is a teacher. So she would have time off. The surgery was up here. They live in Wichita. So they would be able to come up and have an easier work schedule. My work schedule is a little less hectic at the end of the year. So we just kind of waited. We had a kidney going away party. We raised some money for PKD,
Oh my
just
gosh.
lots of fun stuff. It was such a great few months of just trying to increase awareness and talk about something I really didn't know about, talk about going in to have surgery and all of that. So it was great. Yeah. So then in December 18th, he got my kidney, lefty.
Man.
So
He got lefty.
Yeah, he got lefty.
Which maybe is fitting if he didn't vote for Trump.
Right,
I don't know.
exactly. Right, yeah. Though now a part of him is officially Republican, so I think we can say that forever.
Okay, there you go. That's funny. That's funny. So how was the surgery? Was there a huge recovery? Was it super painful?
It was really easy. It's crazy to say that about surgery, I think, but it was a hand-assisted laparoscopic surgery. So
Can you say that in English, please?
I know, right? So there wasn't a lot of cuts involved, we'll say.
Okay.
So I have two tiny incisions, less than an inch on my side, where they put in the equipment to sort of scoot my left kidney around, and they just blow up your stomach. And my surgeon stuck his hand into my belly button and pulled out a kidney. So it's about the size of your fist.
Okay.
So if you can imagine that. So I have one larger scar that covers my belly button, but it's not that large either.
Yeah.
So it was a couple of hours of surgery, and we go in at the same time. We're in surgery rooms next to each other. And they, of course, prep Dan, and they want to make sure that he's ready to receive the kidney before they
Take it
remove
out.
mine.
Yeah, I
that's
imagine
an important
it needs
step.
to stay viable, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they wait for that, and so once Dan is prepped, they go in and they remove my kidney. So my kidney is only out in the world for probably 20 minutes. And so it's again a great outcome. Living every kind of donation is wonderful. Living donation has the benefit of the organ hasn't ever really stopped, right?
Yeah.
So there's no resuscitation required of a kidney or part of a liver. You can also donate. They don't want mine, but so it's just a healthier organ. It makes for the process to be a lot smoother. So yeah, it was a few hours. Woke up, and I mean, there's definitely pain because you just had surgery and lost an organ. But it was real. I was in the hospital for 2 nights and home on bed rest for about a week, and after about 2 weeks, I was back at the office.
Wow.
So it was really...
So pretty much back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you know how long the recovery takes for the recipient of the donor?
So longer for them. And it's kind of an interesting thing. So normally they say that it's harder on the donor than the recipient because you're going from 100% kidney function down to 50 immediately.
Sure.
So your remaining kidney does pick up that slack pretty quickly. But on the recipient side, it's a lot of work to make sure that the organ isn't rejected. So it's a longer lead time for them. So I think it was probably, I hate to speak for Dan on that, but it was probably a few months, I think, before he kind of was feeling good, but then his kidney function is great. So my favorite statistic is on the day of surgery, he was at 14% kidney function. So as I said, 10% is dialysis. So 3 days after they tested both of us, and he was at 87% kidney function. So it's just an incredible,
So your kidney worked well.
My kidneys are like rock stars.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's great. And my kidney function is almost the same. So it's really has not had any impact on my quality of life. And he's doing great. Lots of things that I didn't realize you couldn't do when you're on a renal diet and in kidney failure. So he hadn't had cheese in like 7 years, which that in of itself is a crime, right? So
I mean, how do you drink wine without cheese?
Right, exactly. Or peanut butter, like lots of things people should have. Yeah,
you definitely need those things in your life. And so now he can have them
Now
again.
he can have cheese. Yeah, so it's great.
Man, you gave the gift of cheese.
I know, right? That's reason enough to donate a kidney. Man. No one should be deprived of that.
Yeah, wow. So he's doing great. You're doing great.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's not the end of your story.
Okay.
I mean, you've been doing a lot of speaking about this and sharing your story, and obviously that's what you're doing today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I really feel like, as we've talked about, and I hinted a little bit here, like it's really important that you share kind of what the process is like, what the journey is like, and open it up as an option. Because until probably 4 years ago, I had another Rotarian who had donated. It was the first time I had ever really thought about living donation. Before that, it had just never really occurred. Not at all. Yeah. No, not a thing that I had ever seen. So I just want to, I feel like the more we can tell the story of what a great process it was for us, what a positive thing it's been, how well we're both doing, maybe it'll give somebody else that spark of like, yeah, maybe I should check this out.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned you're a Rotarian.
I am.
As am I. So let's, I think a lot of times people that may like kind of perk up their ears a little bit. Like, I think maybe I've heard of that.
Okay.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Sure. So Rotary is and this will be a good quiz, an international service organization, really just dedicated to bettering the world around us in the short version of it. So clubs, obviously, throughout the world. We're in different clubs. There are about 40 here in our district. So,
City area.
About 2,500 Rotarians here in Kansas City, just going out every day looking for opportunities to improve their community. So such a wonderful organization. Great fellowship as well, and
and you got a big job coming up.
I know, that's why I'm saying like I'm glad I'm getting this quiz. I am incoming district governor nominee. So I've got about a year and a half to go, which is I'm excited about too, because I think I'm in my 30s. A little bit younger than the typical Rotarian, will be one of the youngest district governors. And I think it's important, as you know as well, to show people that Rotarians don't have to be what you think of as a Rotarian. So
it's not just old white guys drinking coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
do you have any interesting Rotary stories you want to share?
Oh gosh, there are so many. So many of these clubs are really just wonderful, and it's been interesting watching during COVID too, because so many of them have switched to virtual, and they're doing really interesting fundraisers, and all of it has just been. I struggle to even find a great specific story, but it's been fun. We've actually gained members as a district, so that's really
amazing.
It's exciting. I think people see a need in the community, and Rotary is a great way to help fulfill that need.
It's a good chance to give back. Really good way to get to know other people that are involved and engaged in the community and want to see it improve. Other business leaders and
absolutely
some of the best people that I have met. Best humans.
I agree. Yeah. Without any kind of an agenda. And I think, especially my background is politics, so I can kind of wax poetic about this stuff. But right now, when our country is so divided, Rotary, organizations like Rotary are such a great way to find common ground and work towards a common good and not get lost in who you voted for president.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah. And in fact, when things do get political, people don't like it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very much against it, which is we maybe need more of. Gosh, after the last couple of months, we all need less of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story and telling us all about, seemingly how easy it was.
I know.
You lost a little weight. I imagine.
I think kidney weighs a couple pounds, so that's good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Man.
So all benefits, really. And it is it just one of the most meaningful things in my life. It's hard to even really put into words what it means, the feeling of knowing that somebody else is going to have a healthier life moving forward because of something that was really very little effort on my part, really. I just kind of laid there. The surgeon did all the work.
Yeah.
So it just incredible. There will never be another experience in my life, I think, that is as meaningful as that experience. And then meeting Dan's family after surgery.
Right.
It's just...
I can't imagine the amount of gratitude from his wife and the rest of his family.
They're wonderful. And obviously Dan got a kidney out of it, but I feel like the lucky one. I feel like the benefits that I've gotten far outweigh any burden that I had, which was really pretty minimal. So it's just...
Yeah. And I've heard you say that before, but it is such a selfless generous act. And, you blow that off because that's how you are. But I think that needs to be acknowledged. And if there were more people like that, willing to do more generous, selfless things, we'd be in a better place.
I think so too. Yeah. I think it's just more about, it's that concept of community, right? Like seeing a need. It's Rotary feeds right into that. It's seeing a need and saying, here I am, send me. I'm ready to help this person. So of course it was like second nature to me. It was great.
Yeah. That's
Everyone
awesome.
should do it.
Yeah.
You should do it. Donate a kidney.
Oh man.
No pressure.
Oh, so I'm O negative.
Okay. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, I want to wrap up with a little rapid fire.
Okay,
5 questions.
I love it.
All right. Let's hope you continue to inspire us with your answers here. I'm sure you will.
All right.
What's your favorite quote?
So it is Teddy Roosevelt, the man in the arena. So it is not the critic who counts and the blah, blah, blah. It's a very long quote, but basically about being the one in the arena, being the one fighting it out and working towards the good and not caring about those asshole critics.
Because there are plenty of those, right?
Everywhere.
I mean,
Everywhere.
one thing we didn't really touch on is you ran for mayor of Shawnee.
Did.
And I imagine you heard a lot of criticism.
Yes, some of the things that people say and we'll put into a Facebook message are not even probably repeatable on this podcast. Yeah. So, there's some negativity for sure.
Wow. Wow. Tell us, you're getting pumped up for your day.
Yeah.
Tell us what song you're turning on. What are you going to jam out to feel good?
Well, so my secret obsession is rap music and like a lot of 90s. I mean, I grew up in Wichita and, it's our thing.
Yeah.
But Lose Yourself, Eminem, has been my like jam forever.
Yeah.
I run to it. I walk doors to it. Like,
yeah.
it's my favorite.
Lose yourself.
So,
In the
I love it. Yeah,
moment.
see, you want to just rap
just
it when
do.
you
You
hear
just
it.
it's totally
Now
a thing.
you're pumped up. See?
I am. I'm ready. Yeah. So we may know the answer to this, but what one accomplishment are you most proud of?
Sure. So, of course, it would be the kidney, but I would also say, even just so I was on city council for 6 years, having the opportunity to serve my neighbors in that capacity, 3 of them as president of the council, was really great. And frankly, running for mayor of a 70,000 person city,
that's
as
big.
a 38-year-old, was great. Even the loss, it was such a great experience. I learned so much from it. So I'm still proud of that campaign.
You should be. Absolutely. What 2 things are on your bucket list that you still have yet to check off? Clearly, you've checked off a lot.
There are so many. So I would love to write a book. That has been going around in my head for a while. And then, so I try to do a physical challenge every year. One year it was donating a kidney.
That's a pretty big challenge, yeah.
So I really want to do the MR 340. So it's a kayak race down the Missouri River from Kansas City to St. Louis.
Okay.
But you have 88 hours to do 340 miles down the river in a kayak. I'm dying to do it.
By yourself?
You can do it in tandem as well, but I would probably go on my own. I'm a kayaker, so I would probably go on my own. And there are like flying carps that hit you and can like break your arm. It's so crazy. Like there's so much that happens on a
carps
river.
could fly.
Me either. Yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah. And it's in the night. Like all of it sounds so cool. So I've had a couple of friends who've done it, and I've thought about it this year, but COVID.
Pandemic. Yeah, man.
So
okay, so we
still
see that
there.
on the horizon.
Absolutely.
I imagine we're
Yeah.
going to see a sign up pretty soon. Man. Finish the sentence. I am most inspired by.
So many things. So I would say hearing what people are passionate about, whatever that is. That motivates me so much. If it's politics or saving dogs or Metallica, whatever it is, like hearing people talk about what they care about is so motivating to me.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, Stephanie, I am so glad that you joined us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
And shared your story. Hopefully inspired some people to be selfless and generous and humble also.
Wow.
So
that's sweet.
Yeah.
So.
I'm Trish Reedy, and you have been listening to Reedy, Set, Grow.
The Reedy, Set, Grow podcast with Trish Reedy.